All right. Well, welcome everyone to our SLA program for today for Wholehearted Librarianship. I'm here with Dr. Michael Stevens. Most of us may know or have encountered his work at Info 200, Information Communities. I know that's where I first ran into some of his work. And in Info 200, our discussions really centered around the different sort of information communities or services offered by those communities. And I believe if I understand these slides correctly, today's program is going to focus on sort of the other side of librarianship, not just the services, but how we as librarians can serve people, with all that we are, not only our skills, but our emotions, and just our ability to empathize and be with people. So I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Stevens to kind of take it where he will. And thank you, sir. I look forward to hearing what you have to share with us today.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Can you hear me and can you see me?
Yes, I can do both.
Cool. Okay. All right. And I'm going to share my keynote. Stand by. And then we're going to go into into play. Let's see how that, oh, wow, there it is. Looks good. Okay. Hi. Thank you. I was thrilled to get the invitation from Jen. Let me stand by. Here's what I've learned. Let me tell you, here's a secret. If you ever are recording like stuff for like students or whatever, see, I got all this glare from my, here's what I do. Where to go? I turn my brightness low there. So I don't see it as well as you do, but you can see me maybe a little bit better. I also, when you record a lecture, I always try to do this instead of like using the laptop. So everybody's like looking up at my chin or something. So I like this as well. Okay, but I digress. All right, let's get back in there. Okay, how's that? I think that looks a lot better. So welcome everybody. Jen, I was thrilled when Jen invited me to talk about this stuff. She is with me in the Hyperlink Library right now, where this is the type of thing that we are looking at, especially as we get toward the end of the semester. And as I told her, and if anybody else has joined us from the Hyperlink Library or even from Info 200, you may see some slides that you have seen or will be seeing before the end of the semester. So I'm up in northern Michigan, up north of Traverse City, just to tell you where I'm at. We're getting much closer to kind of wintry weather. We've already had a little bit of snow. We're not here yet, but it's coming. And I think somebody has a microphone on, so if they could turn that off, that would be super cool. Because I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Cool. Okay. So the other thing I want to say before we dive in is I so appreciate whoever is running the show for your chapter, that you know that I am a Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks fan, and you did this super cool little promo, which I saw it this morning. I was just totally thrilled. So thanks for that. And it's true, before you go your own way, because we're perched here on Thanksgiving break, for the little break we get. So yay. So thanks for that. Okay, let's dive in. I will watch the time here. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking too much already. Okay, let's dive in. Patricia Paylor, who was a library school professor way back in the 50s, wrote an essay for one of the academic librarian type journals back then called The Heart of the Matter. And she was very concerned because she said, the best librarians I know are those who find in their jobs, whatever they may be, the excitement and adventure that reward only the adventurous in spirit. She went on to say, and she was kind of upset. She said, well, I think the spirit and the heart has gone out of library work, and we need to come back to that. That was in the mid 50s that she was worried about that. She was worried about that for library school, for training graduate students. let me see, still have another microphone on, I think. If you have your microphone on, if you wouldn't mind muting it, that would be super cool. Oh, good, thank you. Okay, thanks. Yeah, there was a little bit of like feedback or something coming through. So what she was tapping into, and what this is a much more current article, what she was tapping into is the fact that human jobs, and this article says human jobs in the future will be the ones that require emotional labor. The future is emotional. I think back then she was saying the same thing. So into the mix then comes this guy, and I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his name. He wrote that piece in Forbes. It came out, I believe, summer 2018, where he said Amazon should replace local libraries to save taxpayers money. It's just so ludicrous. But you know what happened. If you were following along back then, you know that they up in arms, and they actually, with such force, told Forbes that they were wrong to publish the article, and Forbes actually pulled it down. So yay for us. Here's Christian Larson. You may have seen him if you're in my classes. He is in Denmark. He's in Roskilde. And I love this. He tweets a lot about libraries. Helped a woman this morning carry her baby carriage and kid, broken escalator, 40 steps down to the underground station. Helping others are so, pardon the language, badass. Also, that is why I love working with libraries so much. I so appreciate this because it does come down to that idea that we do all sorts of things in the course of helping people, being in the service profession. Maybe she recognized him from the library. He's like, oh, I know you. You come in the library. Let me help you out. He also, if you want to follow up on this, he has a wonderful Instagram account called Library Love Stories. Maybe somebody could put that into the chat for folks to grab, click, and maybe subscribe to it. He shares a lot of neat photos of his travels around Europe, etc. And then there's this, I love this. Peter Musser says, today I waived $14.80 worth of fines because dang it, kids deserve to not be afraid of going to the library. Absolutely. If you're looking at information theory, information behavior, you may have come across a theory called library anxiety, or a concept called library anxiety. And that's kind of like a formal scholarly term to say kids should not be afraid to go to the library. Okay, I'll ask again, or could one of the moderators please maybe mute whoever who has their microphone open? Cool, thank you. So yeah, kids should not be afraid. And what I love about this is this kind of points toward, taps into that idea of libraries that are going fine free. In fact, wow, that's up and coming. I got a slide about, wow, where'd it go? About Chicago Public. So we'll hit that in a second. But then there's this, and this came from Liz Olson, who's in the Hyperlink Library with me this semester. She shared this in one of our groups where we share news articles and talk about them. And this is a program out of Seattle Public working with the Kane County Correctional Facilities to help incarcerated parents record stories, like reading a book, story time, for their kids. So they do the recording, and then the children are mailed copies of the story, the video copies of the story, the video recording, and then a book about the experience of having a parent in jail or prison. This is amazing. I never would have thought of this, and I'm so inspired when I see stuff like this. Okay, so that's sort of where we're at. We're sort of in this emotional space. So what does this mean? This means, and in my mind, this means that we do have to sort of to bring ourselves to this work and make sure that we are approaching it with a wholehearted nature. So in 2018, in August, I was in Australia for a month as a visiting professor, and I did some speaking here and there, and I did a keynote at a concert in a place called Gold Coast. And the keynote, it was a conference for librarians in Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore. It was super cool. I got to meet some neat people, but I had the jet lag. So I was up before dawn every morning to walk along the ocean and watch the sun come up. And I realized there were other library folk out there too. For whatever reason, they were up and they were out and they were walking. It was super cool. And I actually fell in step with a librarian and we talked. And she said, "Isn't this nice to be out and getting steps?" And we were both step counters. Uh, and she said, "It's also good just to kind of take a breath and get ready for the day of sessions and interacting. And maybe if you're more introverted, you really got to turn it on to be at a conference all day." And she said, "It's just so nice to take a breath." And as we parted, she said, "Well, you take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you at the conference." And wow, I thought, wow, take care of yourself. What an interesting idea. And I say this myself to a lot of people. And I sign off on emails with this, sign off on phone calls. Uh, this is what we do. We take care of ourselves, and because of what we do, we take care of others. And here's a big wordy slide that says, this is what I see us doing when I say we're taking care of our users. We offer a safe place for everyone that comes through our door to learn and to grow. We offer spaces for people to come together, to collaborate and exchange ideas. And we create spaces online and in real time to promote learning and well-being. And I love that last little bit about well-being. So a lot of these slides, you may see them in the stuff that I do here at the School of Information, but I also did a wonderful staff development day a couple weeks ago at Cedar Rapids Public Library in Iowa. And I did the tour of the library, and there were so many amazing things, but this just stopped me in my tracks. The public computing stations in the library that are on treadmills. I thought, what a great way to take care of the well-being of our users. And that really inspired me. And I said, I'm taking a picture because I'm going to show this to my classes. So that was fun. And they're doing some really cool things at Cedar Rapids. So this is actually a version of what I did at Cedar Rapids, as well as what will be in some classes. It's something I did in ALA Annual and in a couple of other places. So let's take a quick look at what this means for evolving service and engagement. If we're approaching this as sort of this holistic, we are taking care of our users in so many different ways. What does that look like? It might look like Adulting 101 sessions, where people learn skills they might not have picked up, like doing some mending or sewing buttons or doing your taxes, or what it means to fill out a lease agreement. It might be participating in a community art project, like at my former public library where I worked for 15 years, the St. Joseph County Public Library in South Bend, Indiana. Members of the community could come in, take their photo at a green screen, and then the librarians would print it out in like this, like tiny, and then they could put themselves into this art gallery. And the super cool thing is people from town came in, and then the mayor came in. You may recognize him. He's a little more visible now, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, Pete Buttigieg. Super cool. This is SJCPL as well. This is a June Pride display where folks could come in and use the hashtag Proud to be South Bend and take a photo by these beautiful multicolored wings. Cooking programs where we teach culinary literacies. Also something really interesting, Free Library of Philadelphia does this. Anytime people can come together and cook and just be together, maybe learn about food and talk to each other, there's just so much good there. It's a learning experience. It's community building, etc. Up here with our friends, just a personal example, we have soup nights every month or every couple of months where each person brings a soup. So we try a bunch of different soups and exchange recipes and talk and be together. And I think that really translates well to what libraries might do with programming around food, etc. Libraries are also offering meditation type spaces or classes to sort of find that center, kind of maybe a more thoughtful or mindful practice. And then I love this. This is at the Public Library in Lansing, Michigan, south of me, Capital Area District Libraries. And this is the community closet. And this is a space where anybody that might need some useful items or personal care items can just go in, open the door, go and get what they need, and then leave. There's no big process. There's no going to a desk and saying, I really could use a bar of soap, or I really could use a toothbrush. There's none of that. That is all eliminated. And I think this is absolutely beautiful. And I think we will see more of this. Now, why this? Why in the library? The library is a public space. The library is hopefully a space where people feel comfortable and they visit the library. And if they do, and if there are services that help their well-being as well as their informational needs, I think that is a good thing. And I think that's something that we should be doing. Here it is. Here's our Chicago Public Library slide. Chicago Public Library is one of the biggest libraries to eliminate fines, and they found just 3 weeks later that returns increased 240%. So there's a huge vote to do away with fines, and I really think we should be doing that. So another aspect of sort of this change, or it's not really a change, it's being more aware of the things that encourage the whole person, or the things that encourage the heart, which I'll tell you about at the end, is using stories. And in libraries, we have used stories so well for so long. I think it's absolutely incredible what we've done with stories. And just this simple question, what's your story? Think about the answer you might get, if you're asking people about their library story or their growing up story or whatever it might be. So here, let's try this. Let's try this together. And I am going to stop my share for just a second. Wow, the time is flying already. Oh no. Okay, that is fine. We will be just fine here, everybody. So for 1 second, close your eyes and imagine yourself as a kid in the summer. Look around in your mind's eye. What do you see? Think about it. Okay, open your eyes, and I have no way of knowing if you closed your eyes. And if anybody wants to type in the chat, what did you see when I gave you that little thought exercise? And don't be shy. Oh, there we go. Oh, wow, I love this. Tall redwood trees, vegging out on the couch. Oh, nice. Grandma's house by the lake. Oh, that's brilliant. Laura, thank you. Okay, and let me go back to sharing. This is fun. All right. There we go. Should be back, right? Cool. Okay. So what is it? Why did we do that? One, I think it's really interesting to sort of kind of take yourself back, think about, what that was like. Why did we do this? Also, because this is something I think we should do in libraries. Maybe we're planning events for the summer. Wouldn't it be interesting to collect 1,000 of these stories and then look at these just little snippets of a memory, and then look at that and see what that means, and see if you could replicate that for summer reading program, for summer whatever type of programming you might do. Super cool. Okay, there we go. So stories take many different forms. Sorry about that. Many different forms. Here is one of my favorite stories. And if you don't know what this is a Google shot of John B. McLemore's Hedge Maze from the podcast S-Town. S-Town came out in 2017. And in the first week, 17 million people downloaded all the podcast episodes. And in the first 6 to 7 weeks, I think it was 47 million people downloaded it. And it's made me realize how impactful podcasts can be to share people's stories. We don't have to write a great big New York Times bestseller or whatever. We don't have to be on network TV to tell engaging and heart-wrenching and amazing stories. I love this. This is an example of a library that highlights some super good, super famous podcasts, and then books that are related. So for example, there's Lore and This American Life and My Favorite Murder, and down below you might see different books And I see a book by Anne Rule, who is a true crime writer. So if you're a murderino, you might want to check out the books by Anne Rule. Some libraries even take it further by circulating tablets with a topic, all the stories about a topic you might be interested in. This one, to kind of keep in the true crime genre, is kid criminals. So you have videos, you have audios, you have NPR stuff, you have articles to read, maybe snippets of things that have been downloaded that you could take a look at. That is absolutely fascinating to me. Now, this is more for you all, and I'm going to stop sharing again because I'm interested too. There we are. Okay, so really quickly, and again, I will be aware of the time. This is just to do some sharing. Okay, name one of your favorite books, TV shows, movies, podcasts, etc. That, oh, I dropped a word. Oh no, sorry about that. That changed you. At Next Library in Denmark, we say, yay, I made a mistake when we make mistakes. So I made a mistake on my slides. So yeah, share something that really, really struck you, a story that pulled you in. I will tell you very quickly, here we go, pop culture tangent. I am obsessed with Dolly Parton's America podcast and Ken Burns' country music documentary on PBS, which I'm watching right now. And I will tell you, I grew up, my parents were from Kentucky, and we had country music in the house all the time. So the country music thing and Dolly's podcast, it really, you know, just kind of, it's that feels like home type thing. And Feels Like Home, which is a song I think Dolly actually sang on in the trio album. That's what we want too, that sort of feeling. So yeah, thanks. Keep sharing there. I appreciate that. I'm going to keep going. And I'll be, maybe I can look at some of these afterwards. So yeah, share your stuff there. And I think we can kind of take away some cool stuff just from knowing what other people are interested in. All right, here we are, we're back, thanks. Some libraries actually have grown-up story time in the evening. This is down in Australia, where they had mulled wine. This is a winter program, mulled wine and read alouds, neat short stories, poetry, etc. I love that example. So again, I sort of alluded to this, I'll say it again. All the different ways that we can share stories, podcasts, etc., YouTube, all of that, this dialogue can create, the dialogue that stories can create, benefits all who participate. And what I think is really beautiful is marginalized populations who are not in the movies and who are not on TV all the time and do not have their voices raised up. We can experience their stories and their lives this way as well. I love this. This is from Cedar Rapids. This fellow is a patron. He is a stay-at-home father of 6 children, 2 of which have some speech delays, and he comes to the library almost every day. He told his story. They put it on their Instagram. I love that. Here's another way that a library can capture a story and put it out there for the world. The other thing he says is he really appreciates that the library doesn't discriminate their programming by gender, which is super cool. So how do we do this? How do we do this? So guess what, folks? It starts with us. And this is where I'm going to bring it back to you all. And I'm so glad I get to talk to you about this. It does start with you, because for us to do these things, we do have to take care of ourselves. We have to approach our work sort of as that holistic, wholehearted manner. What does that mean? We use concepts such as hygge, which is from Denmark. It does not translate well into English, but it is multiple things. Cozy feeling of community, people coming together, candlelight, warmth because it's cold in Denmark. I could say the same thing here for Northern Michigan. It's that idea of making spaces that welcome people in. I would also say we use our hearts, and I think that's probably what brought you all to this work and maybe brought you to this program, is because you are interested in service and serving people. And absolutely, I think a lot of it depends on kindness. And I really think that instead of being persnickety and angry and rule-based, that just letting kindness take the lead. And I'll recommend another program. It's called the Kindness Diaries. It's moving around the streaming services right now. Guy's name is Leo, and he does this kind of road trip type reality series where he looks for the kindness of strangers, and it's super cool and was very inspiring. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about really quickly, throw it in the chat. I won't stop sharing. If you have a beloved pet, share that pet's name if you want, and maybe dog, cat, snake, lizard, anything. I really think that, okay, I have had rescue dogs in my life. I rescued a Labrador Retriever 10 years ago, and he just passed this last spring. He was a very good dog. And we also rescued a hospice dog a few years ago who was given 6 weeks to live, but he was with us for 26 months. And I wrote a column in Library Journal about him and about bringing him into the family, and about what I learned having a hospice dog and what that means about compassionate service and bringing sort of that feeling, that empathy, et cetera, that we'll talk about in just a second, and how that could even inform leadership. And many of you are hurtling probably toward being managers and maybe eventually directors and deans. Remember this, okay? Tuck this away, please, for me. That compassionate leadership and that knowing how people experience the world and bringing emotional intelligence to your leadership can be so powerful. Again, not rules, please, not an iron hand, but just being open and empathetic and compassionate. I really believe that we are the heart of our communities, and that only works because of what you all give of yourselves to your communities. You make an emotional investment because you believe, or you will believe, in the institutions and the communities you serve. And I really believe we are in the ultimate service profession. What does that look like? I think wholehearted librarianship is made up of soft skills. And I would venture to say soft skills are heart skills. If you take the Hyperlink Library with me, we talk a lot about empathy and curiosity and creativity, and I try to provide as many outlets for creativity as I can in the class. These are foundational soft skills to me. Everybody should be curious. Everybody should be able to put themselves in another person's shoes. I also think confidence is a good soft skill to have. Now, if you aren't, like maybe, you know, you're great at one area, but you're not so confident in another area, maybe that's the one to work on. How do we do this? Maybe, for example, technology isn't your forte, or you'd like to be better at that. Maybe you'd like to build up your confidence a little bit with technology. The good thing is you're in an online program, you're getting exposed to these things. So that's super cool. What I would do, and this, there's a wonderful librarian named Sally Perwangi, I did not say her name very well, in New Zealand, who talked to me about this. She said she wanted to boost her video making skills confidence. And she made a video. And it wasn't the best video, but she made it and she learned from doing that. And then she did it again and again and again. So if you want to learn to make a video, or if you want to make a super cool infographic, you know, do one and then do another and then do another. And that's how you build your confidence. The same can be said there. The same can be said. I'm looking over there, but there you are. The same can be said about doing something like this, talking in front of a group. Find ways to do this. If this, maybe you're introverted like me, guess what? I've turned it on for this. That's what I do. Turned on the extroverted side of my personality. Look for ways to get that experience as well in programs like this with your student group, or stepping up to do like introductions for somebody, or recording a video for a class because that makes you feel uncomfortable doing that type of presentation. Look for ways to boost your confidence. Also, character. We don't talk about this very much. We used to appreciate character. Now I think we appreciate celebrity a little bit more, but character, that's being like having integrity and being a good person, etc. You know, let those things rise up as well. Here's compassion. There's our sweet canine or feline companions. And then just a real understanding of how the world works, how diverse and beautiful the world is, and how inclusive we should try to make it so everyone feels welcome. Okay, I am going to unshare here because I'm interested in this. What do you think is the most important soft skill we should bring? Oh, Gizmo, yay, we should bring to our work. What do you think is the most important soft skill that we should bring to our work? I'm just going to watch for a second. Silence. Mary, that one is interesting. Yay for an open mind. Understanding. Nice. Yeah. And so much of this, so much of what you're describing is emotional intelligence. And that's that understanding the other person, putting yourself in their shoes, or they're having a bad day. You've had a bad day, right? You know what that's like when you kind of you snap sometimes, when then you're like, oh my God, I've had a really bad day and I'm really sorry. You know, it's that kind of thing. So here's what I will do. I'm going to keep going. You can't really see this because I got another one for you here. Yeah. Okay. So I also would say that these are, just stand by, these are library superpowers. These are librarian superpowers. I'd like to say that libraries are like bars and the listening and venting. Yeah, absolutely. So, and I think we all bring our own librarian superpowers to the mix. So let me ask you this. Just think about you, and you don't have to share if you don't want to, but if somebody wants to type a couple of them in, that'd be super cool. What do you think is your superpower that you're going to bring to your professional work in libraries? And maybe it's one of these soft skills that went by, or maybe it's something else that we haven't mentioned. If anybody wants to throw one in, we'll wait just a second, and then I'll get back into the slides. Okay. Connection, creativity, nice. Curiosity is a big deal. I will say it to all of you. Be curious about everything. Enthusiasm, that's lovely. Yay, tenacity, yes. Cool. Okay, keep sharing. Everybody, you know, soak them in. This is absolutely wonderful. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing. Thanks for your patience with all this. And here, where are we? Just so you can see the slides. So we were here. And then, because I want you to see this really pretty library superpower slide. Whoops, where'd it go? There it is. And then what superpower do you bring? So now, going forward, here's what I think is key. And that is the concept of reflective practice. What does that mean? That is a method of practice that involves three things. The first one, we've seen this one in the sharing, yay. Open-mindedness, that means you are open. Hold on, get ready. You're open to change, technological and other. You're open to everything you need to do to meet the needs of the communities you serve. And that can be, we're talking any type of library, right? Any community. And I say that it doesn't have to just be the town. It can be the campus. It can be the corporation and the museum, everything. Open-mindedness, approach everything with an open mind. And then responsibility. And that's taking responsibility for your actions. One of my friends that I walk with in the summer, she has a shirt that says, own it. And I love that. That's that I'm owning my actions. Like I messed something up in hyperlink. I think I had dates wrong or something. And I just put up a post like, oh, wow, I messed it up. That was me, human error. Here's the correct date, and let's just, keep going. And then finally, a wholeheartedness, and that is bringing everything you have to the work you are doing. It is a tall, tall order. But I think for the 21st century, for 21st century information work, this is exactly what is needed. People, persons. And I don't even need to say, you're not getting into this business because you want to sit in an old room full of books. You're going to be working with people in some way. This is a sign on the door of one of the departments at Salt Lake City Public Library. The director there, Pete Bromberg, sent this to me. I love this. We work together to make lives better. Here's the rest of it. We are inclusive, open, curious, playful, and kind. That sign said everything I want to tell you in one little nice thing that I've told you in the last 30 minutes. I think that's beautiful. We should be, you all as information professionals should be learners. You should make connections and you should open doors. And we do this with humanity and heart, creating a space for all. And this is a wonderful photo from our friends at the Dock One Library in Aarhus, Denmark. At Cedar Rapids, they gave me a tour early in the morning before staff day, and we came into the big communal workroom, and this was on their board. And I was just so touched. They had grabbed one of my quotes. You saw it earlier. This is actually from the column about the dogs. We're the heart of our communities because of what we give of ourselves. That touched my heart to have that up on the board when I arrived. So back to this. You remember this? Take a breath. The semester is almost over. Take a breath. We're going to have Thanksgiving break. Yay, take a breath. I believe that the heart of libraries is that we listen. We're going to listen very closely to all of our users. We're going to teach in every sense of the word. And that doesn't mean we have to do it all. We can certainly find partnerships, but we are going to teach because I think learning and opportunities for learning is one of the most important things libraries will do going forward. And we build community, which can be absolutely amazing in so many different ways. And we welcome everyone in. And I love these. I absolutely love all of the choices of these. The libraries are for everyone. Little graphics. Okay, so back to the conference in Australia. The theme of the conference, and this is what a great conference theme this was, roar, leap, and dare. We should be vocal, we should roar, we should take risks, we should leap, and we should dare. We should dare to do all those things we think we should. So I'm doing my keynote. All the other keynoters had riffed on this. I was the last one. So I said, yeah, here's this is important. But I think for us, these things are also important as well. We should reflect, we should breathe, and we should love. We should love what we do. We should take care of each other, and we should look for ways to experience joy, to help our users experience joy. Marie Kondo came along, love her work, love it, came onto Netflix and taught everybody. Now, when you see this word, you think spark joy. So yeah, absolutely. What the library should do is spark joy as well. If not, phase it out. Another wonderful thing I learned from a librarian at ALA Annual, I love this, and this is something you can apply to your own practice. This is like super practical. If you go to a conference, maybe even after our time here together today, just grab your journal for a second or your tablet or whatever and write down 3 ideas that amazed you about any of the examples I've showed you, or the examples that you've seen in the chat, or the cool things that people shared about podcasts, movies, TVs, books, or their superpowers. Write those things down. Then 2 concepts you want to focus on. That might be that concept of reflective practice, or it might be some of the stuff we saw early on. And then, is there one idea coming out of this 40 minutes or so that I've got to speak with you all today, which I really appreciate? Is there one idea that you can apply immediately to your practice as a student maybe you work in libraries, maybe you work wherever you work, to your work life. Is there one thing that you can apply immediately? I sort of name checked this early on in the talk. I said many years ago, I believe libraries should encourage the heart. I'm still saying it today because I think it's important. And that means that we should lead from the heart. We should be compassionate leaders. Learn from the heart. We should be open to new ideas, to things changing and learning, constantly learning. Back there on my shelf, I have my little thing from Michelangelo that says, I'm always learning. And we should play from the heart. We should enjoy what we do and look for ways to bring joy to folks. I really appreciate this time to talk with you all. I hope if I haven't seen you in class that I will, or I hope that you enjoyed my stuff in Info 200. I always forget that everybody in 200 sees all of those things. So how are we doing on time? Oh, we're good. I can hang out for just a couple of minutes more. If anybody maybe has a question or something they would like to say, if that's okay with the group.
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. Slow down and pay more attention to people. That is so, yes, that is so important. So if you have a question, I guess grab a mic or type it in.
Yeah, everyone should be able to unmute themselves. So please verbally ask your question.
Yeah.
Slip through the hands of Tom Brady, but able to corral it. That's 7-9.
How is the weather? Can you get outside? Yes, I can. It's like 30 some degrees. I did my big walk this morning. It was 28 when I left the house. Wasn't bad. See if I have. Here, I'll put into the chat the slide URL so folks can download it, so it's there as well.
Dallas may think about spending time on the question, and that's one of the few times Brady's able to just sit in the pocket and allow the receiver to get down the field, and he makes it.
Oh, Violet, cool. That's cool. There was a lot of stuff, so just do some reflection. Yes, Glenn says the concept of creating a space for everyone is so essential to any space. Yes, when I went to the Next Library Conference this year in Aarhus in Denmark, the big library where all the cool stuff is going on, and I went to a session where they had us evaluate space for different areas, and my group was assigned the children's space, and I learned so much about what it means to welcome everyone, including a quiet room for babies and a room that had like less sensory input type stuff. It was fascinating. Cedar Rapids is well funded. The reason they have this amazing, beautiful building, to put a real fine point on it, is the library was right next to the river for many years, and in 2008 it was devastatingly flooded, and they actually, FEMA had to come in. It was the first time FEMA ever came in for a library water disaster type thing, and they qualified for millions of dollars to rebuild the library. They moved the library 5 blocks back and 34 feet higher than the river. And it's a beautiful, beautiful building. It'd be something to look up at their website and see some of the cool things they do. And I'll tell you one more story real quick about Cedar Rapids, because we did a lot of sharing in that room, different people with some of the same interaction stuff I did. And one of the tables, the lady raised her hand. She said that we're all from the same branch. And when the Toys R Us was closing across the street from the branch staff pooled their money and bought diapers on clearance, so they would always have diapers available for moms or dads, parents who maybe got to the library and suddenly didn't have one. And the lady said, yeah, we bought size something. I can't remember what she said, but they could cut them down for little babies, but they were big enough for like the older kids too. So there's a story about diapers here. Oh yeah, I think it was recorded. Okay, San Diego, my I'm nervous about interactions with aggressive patrons, which happens regularly there. Do you have any advice for this type of reference interaction? Yes, I do. When you get there, ask about if it is an issue, if there is de-escalation protocols in place. I hope that you would spend some time training with somebody so you have time to ask those questions. We should all feel safe, not only the people that come through our doors. So absolutely, find out what it's like, talk to multiple folks to get their impression of that workspace. And especially if there's de-escalation training or protocols, etc. I wish you the best with that, and that will be really, really good experience. Cafes and libraries kind of came and went. I think they work better when they are independently ran, like adjacent to the building, not inside the building. A lot of those cafes that were built inside of libraries now are something else. Yeah, okay. So another thing I would urge you to do, just because I still have the floor, is to look to make connections here with your fellow students. And some of those students may be from different parts of the country or all around the world. The more we can talk with people in different places, the better. And even to go back to the question about San Diego Public, maybe look for folks in your networks, look for folks in school with you that might work in similar places and learn some of their techniques for de-escalation or not, avoiding somebody getting upset. But the other thing is having a network of folks on a global level could be very useful. So the reason I'm saying this is I have to run because I actually have a Skype meeting with a colleague from Australia. It's going to be his Monday morning and my Sunday evening. And we're going to talk a little bit about doing a conference proposal. So that is my next thing. I really appreciate the time with you all. I see people I recognize that are in class with me. I'm thrilled you came out for this, and I will see you in class. Thanks, everybody. Take care.